Hello everyone and welcome to the A10-CII quick start guide on how to employ dumb bombs in CCIP mode. So again, I'll be using the normal training mission, the link to that is down in the description, and we'll be spawning on this spawn of number 1 dumb bombs Mark 82. And as normal, once we've loaded in, we immediately put active pause on. So as normal on this mission, we've got our targets just ahead of us. To get a better view of that, with the HUD set as SOI, we can select waypoint 1, which on this mission is always the target. I do that by pushing the data management switch up command. So to set up the bombs, we're going to need the master arm switch in the up position, and we can set up the bomb settings by going to our DSMS page. We can see here what we've got armed. We've got a total of 12 Mark 82s on these triple ejector racks. To set up their options, we go to the profile page, push down next to this rocker, and click View Pro to open up the weapon profile. And this looks very similar to the rocket's profile. We have our choice here of CCIP and CCRP release. Be covering CCRP release in more detail with guided munitions. We have the same options here for single, pairs, ripple single, and ripple pairs. These work very similarly to the rockets system. So single will release 1 bomb, pairs will release 2 bombs on mirroring stations. Ripple single and ripple pairs will do the same thing, but if you press and hold the weapon release button, it will release a ripple quantity. So for example, let's say I wanted to release 3 bombs per press. I can push 3 on the UFC, this upfront controller here, or I can push 3 down here at my CDU. And then I push the OSB button here next to where it says ripple quantity. Below that we have feet. This is the weapon release spacing in feet. So let's say I wanted to drop my 3 bombs at 100 feet apart. I would enter 100 and then push next to feet. Normally I'll just be releasing these one at a time, but we can certainly release these as a set just to demonstrate. We also have the arming here of nose or tail arming. Doesn't make too much difference to these bombs, but when we look at the high drag bombs, we'll look into that in a bit more detail. If we go change settings, we do have additional options here. Most of these you can ignore, but important ones for now. So we do have a minimum altitude that you can enter if you want an alert popping up. For now, we're just going to go to save these settings. Go to the status to bring up our page. To select our bombs, just like the rockets, we've got 2 ways of doing that. One is with the HOTAS controls, with HUD set as SOI, which we can see with the asterisk there. As long as our master mode is in anything except guns mode, if we push left or right on the data management switch hat, we will cycle between our weapon profiles, and so we can select Mark 82 there. Alternatively, on the DSMS page, you can select individual stations. You can select as many matching stations as you like. Now I'm just going to select all of them, and I've got my targets over there. So for now what we can see on the HUD is we have this vertical line. Vertical dash line is going from your current location down along the bomb's line of fall, and at the bottom of that, not visible right now, will be the CCIP marker for the bombs. To be able to see that, we're going to need to be in a rather steep dive. Let's go ahead and unpause this and I'll talk you through the approach and attack for making a CCIP bombs release. So I want to gain some altitude here. This does spawn me a little bit lower than I'd be happy with making a bombs run. We can see a little line of trucks there, so let's see if we can't drop munitions on them. So ideally you want a rather steep angle of attack, really I'd aim for about 45 degrees. One good thing to do is to deploy your air brakes as you're going in for the dive. Do that by holding the air brake out button. We dip our nose down until we see that CCIP reticule. When it's over the target, press and hold, you will release the bombs, then pull out of the dive. You can see there that we got some good hits. I've got a release abort message appearing. That is because I didn't maintain the dive for long enough to drop all 3 of the releases that I had programmed in.
Speed brake, speed brake.
And there I get a visual alert that I've left the speed brake out. Always a good idea to put that back in when you recover. The bomb release error here isn't any issue, we just click acknowledge when it appears. You can see we've got a decent set of hits, so let's go back in for another pass. Again, as we're getting over the target, cut throttle back, deploy the speed brakes, nose over, fly to place the pipper over the target, and press and hold to release.
Pull up, pull up.
One thing to note is that these bombs do not have any sort of delay, so be careful with low altitude passes, as you can and will damage yourself.
Pull up, pull up.
Now that's about all you need to know for delivering dumbfire bombs in CCIP mode. If you ever want to check how much munitions you've got left, you can look at your DSMS page. We have the numbers by the relevant stations, and if a station is completely empty, it will be boxed in white. If you release all of your bombs, you will also see an empty message appearing on the HUD. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please do leave them down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, remember to take care of yourselves, be kind to one another. Cheers!